Thanks to everyone for joining us today. My name is Elise Lunan. I'm the Chief Content Officer of Goop. And today we're going to do a panel about mindfulness and wellness, which was time for before the pandemic, but couldn't be better a time really to come to. Before we get started, we're going to just all do a meditation together with Tamara Levitt, who's the head of mindfulness for Calm. And then we'll see you back in about 5 minutes and go through the panel. So Tamara, over to you.
All right, thank you. I thought we would just do a meditation for calming the mind and body. So to start, just find a comfortable position and just gently relax your hands. And whenever you're ready, close your eyes. And as you inhale, just allow the spine to gently lengthen and reach towards the sky. And as you exhale, surrender the body to the downward pull of gravity. Just allowing your inhales to be full and deep, and releasing each breath nice and slow. And just repeat this pattern a few times, inviting your attention inward and letting go of all the moments before this one. And if there's any tightness in your body, see if you can allow it to soften. And if there's any tightness in your mind, see if you can allow it to soften. And now just relax the breath so it feels natural. And we'll begin a brief body scan just to help further release any tension that you might be holding. So start by bringing awareness to the area of your face and soften your forehead and your jaw. Relax your neck and shoulders. Release any tension that you might be holding in your back. And soften the area of your belly. And just feel into the length of your whole body now, relaxing any parts that still may be holding, softening whatever needs softening, whether that's in the body or the mind. And now bring your attention back to the breath, just noticing wherever it's easiest to follow. And so that might be in the area of the nostrils, it might be in the chest or the belly. Wherever you feel the sensation of the breath the most, just hold your attention there and just rest. On the inhale, feel the breath flow in. On the exhale, breathe out and soften. And just continue this for a few moments. And if the mind wanders, just come back to the breath. It's not a problem. We just return over and over back to our anchor. So just find the breath, breathe in and soften. Breathe out and soften. And now slowly feel your senses awaken. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you for that, Tamara. That was needed for me personally. And I just want to quickly thank Calm and Lincoln for inviting me to moderate today's conversation. I'm joined by some amazing panelists. You've already met Tamara, who's the head of mindfulness for Calm, also joined by Michael Sprague, who's the North America Director for Lincoln Motor Company, and Keiichi Diana Njaka, who is a former neuroscientist, although it's debatable whether you can leave a career like that behind, which is an artist and a mindfulness meditation guide. And then, of course, the inimitable Matthew McConaughey, who's an actor, producer, and longtime Lincoln ambassador, I'd say icon in that role. So thank you guys all for being here and taking time out of your day to talk about mindfulness and wellness and how we can best navigate these uncertain times. As mentioned, I'm the Chief Content Officer for Goop. I'm also the mother of 2 young boys. And so, like many of you, I am trying to figure out how to balance my work from home career and the education of my kids in a few short weeks, and also how we're going to show up in the world as the world continues to evolve and change. And I think we can all agree, everyone on this panel, I know for certain, that the only thing we can really control ever is ourselves and our reaction to what's happening in the world. So we're going to get into that today. And I will just also offer that I really miss my commute. So I love this combination of Calm and Lincoln, because my commute, as I'm sure for many of you, was the buffer in my day and the time that I could both transition to different roles and wind down. So I can't wait till we get back on the road and I don't just have to save those drives for the grocery store. So thank you all for being here. I guess we'll start with you, Matthew. When you look back on the last few months and even the recent weeks, because as we know, it's evolving every single day, we've gone through tremendous change, and meditation has emerged, right, as a popular outlet. What other wellness tools have you been relying on?
Oh, well, you talked about like that commute that you don't have. And those are those little things that are sort of rituals, that are resets, that are demarcations between all of our different events through our day. Now that we've been kind of thrown into chaos and we have to find our own order again, and we don't have those rituals that we used to have, we've been trying, me and my family have been trying to really create ritual for us. So the day just, how do you get a semblance of the day? Every day feels like Saturday. All of a sudden Friday's on top of us again. Is Saturday a work day? Is Sunday a work day? What day is it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to, unless you create some structure. For me, exercise, trying to make sure I break a sweat once a day. That's a reset for me. I still do take those drives to nowhere in particular. I'll go get in the Navigator and I'll go, have my relationship with music. Music has been very important for me over this last 16, 17 weeks. I've probably listened to it 3 times more than I used to. So my relationship with music has gotten better. The family time. We always spend time in the kitchen. We're spending much more time in the kitchen. And that's, as we all know, a great room for family gathering. We're making more meals together than we were before. We have the children, the first part of the day until 1 p.m., they're set with schoolwork and duties around the house. They understand that. Then in the afternoon, we get together and we come together. We all go out and get some exercise or play. Then we have the ritual of coming home, cooking dinner together. Then the evening is we'll pick something out. Each one of us get a choice of what we're going to watch that night. And each child or parent gets that. So we have a ritual, and all of a sudden it's time to go to bed, and we get up and we do it again. We also have my mother with us, who's 88 years old. So she's been actually great to be with us. We pulled her out of our house in a retired community, and it's taken her a little while to get used to a different place because she knew exactly where everything was in her place. But she's been wonderful, and she's on the ride with us. And I think creating the ritual through the day and seeing this time that we're in as bonus time, as more immediate family and introspection time, and creating rituals where you can.
Yeah. No, I was talking to a friend today who was like, today I'm okay. And I'm like, that's a great way to think about it. It's just taking each moment as it comes and looking to mark that time. So Tamara, are you just seeing just a huge surge in meditation and downloads, and particularly as people can't go to studios, et cetera? Like, what's happening in your world?
Yeah. I mean, I think that more people are turning to meditation than they ever have been, really. I think people are looking for tools to help them support this time of change and uncertainty. We've definitely seen an uptick in our usage. People are, they're coming to our app to look for meditations to help them deal with stress and anxiety. Sleep, of course. A lot of people are dealing with insomnia right now. Matthew's story's been listened to now over 11 million times. We also offered, I think, because people are just having such a difficult time navigating this whole experience, we offered a free resource page, which has a whole bunch of supportive and soothing content, meditations and sleep stories and masterclasses and music. And we've seen almost 2.5 million people view that page in the short time that we've had that up. So people are definitely turning to meditation, and it's calm.com/together. People are definitely looking for support.
Yeah. Well, don't tell my husband, Matthew, but I'm happy to let you talk me to sleep every night. Welcome to my bedroom. And Keiichi, sort of from your own, I know this is your trade and you have long been fascinated by the brain, but from your own experience in mental well-being, what have you seen and how have you been sort of turning to those tools for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I echo Tamara's response to just seeing a huge need in meditation. And I specifically teach mindfulness. And I feel like just in the last, period of time that we've been sheltering in place, I've seen this need to be way greater than at any point in my career thus far. Definitely seeing more people in classes, and just from what I hear from clients and students who come to class, as well as people in my community and friends, loved ones. There's just this, I guess maybe it was already present, but I think that there's something that being sheltered in place has really sort of illuminated maybe the unsettledness and kind of the unknowing, and maybe it's brought up more anxiety, I guess. And so there has been a real need to sort of address that. And I've definitely seen that for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that leads me to the next question, which is really about the incredible amount of anxiety that we're all collectively feeling, whether it's about our own personal safety and our families or communities. The world feels like a lot of old structures are coming down and will need to be rebuilt. And so we have two brands, Calm and Lincoln, that have come together at this moment in time, very presciently, and not actually in reaction, but knowing, I think, that maybe we were getting to a point of needing a different way of being. So can you guys tell us a little bit about your partnership? Michael, maybe you can start.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Elise. So you're right. We're facing so many challenges and changes in society. But at Lincoln, providing that sense of sanctuary is really core to who we are. Our designers are designing vehicles with clients' well-being in mind. So as in Matthew's case, if he's driving his Navigator, he's feeling that sense of calm. Or if you're a passenger in an Aviator on a long family drive, you too are feeling that sense of calm. So with that shared mindset of health and well-being, we found a perfect partner in Calm. But what's really important here is to understand this wasn't a result of the COVID pandemic. We've actually been working together for about a year. A year ago, we provided a membership to some of our clients and as a test pilot to see how this relationship would work. And the response was overwhelming. They loved it. They loved being able every day before they got into the vehicle, or actually when they got into the vehicle, just sitting there for a few minutes and practicing mindfulness. They told us, and it's backed up by research, about 3 minutes per day really helped them focus on their day. So that was really cool to see. So that then led to the partnership. And it just so happens August 15th is National Relaxation Day. So we're going to announce to all of our Lincoln customers that they're going to have access to a 1-year premium membership to Calm so that they can experience all the great services that Tamara mentioned, whether it's in their vehicle, on their way to work, at home, wherever. So we think it's going to be really great. And it is a first of a kind collaboration between two brands who are really focused on well-being and mindfulness.
Tamara, can you sort of speak to what you all were thinking about in terms of approaching this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really difficult time as of late specifically. So thinking about, content moving forward, in general, I think we're looking for stability in our lives. We're looking for stability in an unstable world. So we really need to be looking inward. And, although the formal practice of meditation is sitting, the goal is actually to bring mindfulness into the world. So, in relation to our partnership, that involves mindful driving. And when we're actually driving mindfully, we are more aware from moment to moment of what's happening in our surroundings. So we're going to be driving more safely. And we're also going to be a lot less reactive. So driving is not always, driving is fun a lot of the time. And then there's going to be stress. There's going to be people who are going to cut us off, and it's going to make us angry. And if we can actually respond to that anger in a less reactive way, it's going to keep us calmer as we drive. When we're stuck in traffic, we're going to have frustration. So there's always the unexpected thing. And we can bring our practice into our lives in any capacity. And so driving is it's a really great way to actually test out how we can bring mindfulness into each moment. I think that also just dealing with anxiety. I think more people have stress and anxiety than ever before. And teaching people that they have the ability to lean into their breath as a way to help calm them in any moment is a really amazing tool to have. So when we slow down our breath, as we did today, especially when we elongate the exhale, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms ourselves down. So we can do that in any moment. And it's really an opportunity for us to be learning how to bring stability into our experience and be more aware in the world.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think we all live, we can go to our minds, which is not a good place to rest. And I think, ironically, almost mindfulness is a misnomer because it's really about being heart-led and being in your body and experiencing sort of where you are in the world. And I think as someone who also loves to drive, sometimes my mind is going, but to be brought back into that moment where I can, even though I live in Los Angeles, I can start to love my commute again and maybe enjoy some traffic because it means that people are back to work and the city is functioning again. So Matthew, clearly people are going to have trepidations about going back into the flow. I don't even want to say normal because I think many of us feel like we don't want to go back to what was normal.
I think if we want to, a lot of us, there's just going to be impossible. There's not going to be an old normal.
Yeah, exactly. So as you think about that, like, what do you think can start to create those feelings of rhythm and
well, rhythm for now or for what that day that comes that's out there when we're all engaging freely again?
Both.
Well, look, for now, as I talked about earlier, we have to create ritual to give ourselves order amongst this chaos, new ritual. The world, it's changed. Our relationships have changed. This is how we gather. We're all together, but we're not in the same place. Now, there have been advantages and opportunities to this. You can now virtually go anywhere you want to go and do these meetings. We don't have to be there in person. That technology's been there, but now we're really utilizing it across the board. So there are some companies that have really exceeded and done really even better now during this time. Obviously, we are going to miss out on some human interaction, and there's people that we all have in our lives that, yeah, I'd really like to give them a hug. I'd really like to be there next to them right now in person. There's nothing that can sublimate for that. But in large part, with this technology, a lot of us are staying on our feet and doing okay in our careers or such. Now, what I think coming out of this is the new normal is going to be more virtual. I think this is part of what the new normal is going to be. We proved it works on many levels. Many companies have thrived. The question, I think, for us when we come to mindfulness is how do we, if this is the truth, this is where we are in the future to a large extent. How do we hang on to our collective soul when we are more individual than ever before? As I said, we're all here right now, but we're not together. For me, I'm big on personal values as a form of active mindfulness. The private sector down to the individual is more powerful and autonomous now than ever before. And I think we individually are going to be more powerful and autonomous than ever before going on from here. I think that is the new normal. I think we are in the new normal to a large extent right now. So how can we each do what's right? What's the best in our own eyes? Because right now it's up to us individually, and I think it's going to be more than ever before, for us individually to take our own personal look in the mirror and go, I'm the king and queen of my own castle. I am more autonomous and powerful than ever right now individually. It's up to me. What are my voluntary and invisible obligations I'm going to make for myself in my life today, and then tomorrow I'll do it again. And if we individually do that, then we make collective change. Then we collectively come out of this with form, structure, order in a new normal. But I don't think we go back to an old normal.
Yeah. No, I think that's really beautifully put, because I think so many of us focus on changing the world. And the reality is the best place to start is yourself. And really the only place to start is yourself. And from there, you can change your family, your community.
Now we got our hand got forced. We did. Right. We don't have a choice. Our hand was forced. We've been told it's non-negotiable. Go home, you with yourself. Yes, do some inventory with you and you. Well, I always wanted to do that, but now you didn't give me the option. I have to, there's some real opportunity in this time.
Yeah, I agree. Michael, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing people really try to take a closer look at the environment around them, much more aware of it, and they want to control that. So kind of on the vehicle side of it, we're seeing a lot of people who are coming in saying, you know what, I used to take a taxi or subway or a bus to work or a shared service, and I don't want that because I can't control that environment anymore. I want to know that the vehicle I get into is going to be clean and sanitized. So we're actually forecasting an uptick in vehicle ownership, which was not expected before. But it's not just the product side of it. We're also seeing it in terms of how people are shopping as well. We're seeing many more people who want, a contactless experience. So they're going to our website, they're negotiating the deal with the dealer all online or via text. They're submitting all of their credit applications through a system that we have called AutoFi. And then the vehicle is being delivered to their home. And then through that onboarding process, it's all being done either through video chat or through a chat bot or some other form of digital means. So there's never any human contact, which, prior to this, we kind of saw it coming, but not to the speed it's come. But at the same time, as a luxury brand, we also need to understand that that's not for everybody. Luxury clients want things on their own terms. So we're just making sure that we have the balance between those who want that contactless experience and those who want to create an experience on their own terms.
That makes sense. What do you think, Nkechi? Do you think that, what's your version of, or where would you like us to be when you think about as we start to come back together?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because unlike many people on the panel, I'm sheltering in place alone, and I don't have a family. I'm pretty much just been spending this time in solitude, and it's given me a much needed space and spaciousness to think about what it will look like for me to sort of integrate and what would be ideal? And these are questions that I get asked by clients and, people in my community. And I agree. I don't think we can sort of expect anything to go back to normal. I think that we've been really re-examining what works for us when we've had to sort of slow down and stop and pause and really meet, this time of uncertainty. We've been able to make decisions for ourselves that really align with our unique and individual needs and values. And I think that's really going to be what sort of, maybe leads how we move forward and to Matthew's point, individually. And I do think that this kind of slowing down has really allowed for a lot of us to be more reflective. And I think reflective means that we're able to sort of communicate with those around us, those closest to us. And yeah, as things continue to be as they are, and even in the question of what is safest, for me, it feels like, yeah, it's going to be less people, less gatherings. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I imagine. And my hope is that, that this time has really allowed people to move through the world more mindfully, more consciously, so that we can actually, really shift things for the well-being of everyone.
Wait, you're on mute, Matthew.
I said, if we do, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we do come out, to what extent come out of this other side and we're all free and engaging, will we hang on to what we learned right now? Will we take it into the masses when it's all live and we're possibly singing songs and dancing again together? Will we remember, or will we, because you know how us humans are, we're good at snapping right back to how we were before. You know what I mean? So, that's the question that hopefully that's that collective change that each individual can make, is will we come out of this, whatever that new normal is, having integrated what we've learned in this time when we were forced into introspection and do an inventory, as you said.
Yeah, I really hope so. And I feel like it's been prolonged enough that what was sort of like a quick break is now protracted and uncertain when it will be over. And that what the timeout that you sort of have talked about has forced us to take inventory of our lives and our relationships, the things that we surround ourselves with, the companies that we support and how they carry those values forward for us. And so, Michael, again, prescient partnership. And I know you guys have been really thinking about wellness and talking about wellness for a while. How do you expect that will be sort of embraced and taken forward? And how are you accommodating for that desire to really have the things that we use in our lives reflect who we are?
Yeah, you're right. This is not something that we just started as a result of the COVID pandemic. The Lincoln brand has been undergoing a brand transformation for a number of years, with the introduction of the Navigator and the all-new Aviator, and most recently the Corsair. And at the core of all of those is our design DNA. We call it Quiet Flight, which is beauty, gliding, human, and sanctuary. And creating that experience within the vehicles where our customers, when they come in, they're stressed, they've had a really rough day. When they leave, they feel revitalized. And that comes from a lot of deep research that we've conducted with luxury clients over the last couple of years. Now, how that translates into the product is we've got phenomenal designers. And so they've taken those cues. And so, for example, within the cabin, they've created these horizontal design cues because we know that the horizon brings the client a sense of calm. Mm-hmm. Another cue is that as you approach our vehicles, we have a unique lighting sequence that welcomes you into the vehicle. We call it warm embrace. When you get into the vehicle, you just don't slide into a traditional seat. It's a 30-way perfect position seat, we call it, so that the seat conforms to your body. It's not the other way around. And then when you press the start button, you've got these beautiful chimes rather than those annoying beeps and buzzers and whistles. It was created by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. So it's things like that that are helping to kind of create that sense of mindfulness or calmness for our customers. And we're adding more things in the future as well. We've got an air purifying system that are coming up in a 2021 Aviator. And then when we look towards the future, we think of other senses that will help create that sense of calm. So things like around the sense of smell and aromatherapy, or the sense of sight and other unique lighting things that we can do. So it's not also just around the product. We're also looking at other kind of services and experiences that we can offer our clients so that their journey with us is effortless, which then leads to mindfulness, which then leads to ultimately that revitalization for which we stand for.
Yeah.
Matthew, can you talk about your memoir titled Green Lights, which I think you just announced on Instagram? Can you give us a little more perspective on that? It sounds really cool.
Yeah, love to. You know, I've been keeping a diary for 36 years. And a couple of years ago, myself and my wife gave me a kick in the backside to say, you've been talking about sitting down with those 36 years and seeing what it is for a while. Now's the time, get out of here. So I went away to the desert by myself for about what turned out to be 12 days to see what it was. And I found a really reliable theme that sort of came out of it, green lights. And I noticed that many red lights, you know, and yellow lights that I had in my life earlier with time turned green. With time, I saw even hard, tragic things, you know, and I noticed that there are things that could work for everybody, you know, even the most tragic thing, a death of a loved one. Well, that's a red light. But for me, for instance, my father moving on was a big red light. But then I've noticed when I went through my journals, how much the incentive and things that he taught me that I took on and carried on and kept him alive by what I learned from him. And the man I try to be daily, how that's a green light of his moving on. It's still a tragic red light to lose someone. And we're in the middle of a big yellow light. And some people in the middle of red lights right now in the world. You know, it makes me think about this. Can we, I foresee a day if we handle ourselves right now that we can look back at this very awkward and tragic year of 2020 and go, that actually was one of our most hard fought but finest hours.
Yeah.
Well, that was the beginning of a foundational change individually and worldwide. This time can even be a green light. So it's an optimistic book. It is a memo. It's stories, prescriptions, poems, prayers, people, and places, and a whole bunch of bumper stickers that I gathered, and I came out of it 2 years later with a book titled Green Light. So yeah, that just went on pre-sale. I'm very honored with it. Very, very honored with it. It's my favorite piece of art that I've ever been a part of creating, and yeah, I'm honored with it.
That's cool. So just for our audience, it's going to be published in October, I think it is.
October 20th, 2020
Great.
is when it comes out of the physical copy, and pre-sales are up. Check it out. Thank you.
I love that. So, Keiichi, so we don't know what our future looks like, but what are the tools? Like, how can we make ourselves feel safe and supported in this time?
Yeah, and I think that, yeah, we don't know. I think that's like probably the biggest lesson we might have learned in this time is that we actually just don't know. We can't really tell the future, and how do we meet each moment to moment? And I think that that's the answer to your question is to find connection with the self, to be able to then give attention to what is needed moment to moment. And that can be done, you know, obviously we're talking about meditation and wellness, and that can be done obviously in a personal practice by way of, you know, apps like Calm, and also that can be experienced in community. There's definitely people who are gathering virtually for class and community to sort of dig deeper in whatever it is that they're discovering about themselves. And I think that, yeah, the ways in which we can take care of ourselves best is by really tending to what it is that we need and being able to be in a space of listening to what that is, which happens when we when we meditate.
Yeah. All right. So I'd love to hear from each of you, maybe starting with Michael. How do you think that we've changed for good? And what's something positive that you hope to bring forward?
Yeah, well, for me personally, so I'm on the West Coast and my team is on the East Coast. So I start my day pretty early in the morning. And so where the room I've taken over in the family home is positioned so I can look at the sunrise every day. And because I'm up pretty early, I see it. And it's just absolutely spectacular. And that's not something I ever really appreciated because, like many on the panel, I have young kids and life is just full of activity and it's go, go, go. But every morning I get to see that sunlight come over the mountains, and it's spectacular. And I think that's what people are really starting to appreciate, is just those little things in life that maybe passed us by before.
I love that. Tamara?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anything is, I don't think that we can know anything will last for sure, to speak to Matthew's point. But I'm hopeful that some things are going to change. And I've seen some real hidden blessings in all of this. One being that I think that so many of us have been forced to slow down, and we're living more quietly. And, we're tuning inward. So we're noticing more about what we need, more about what we are yearning for in life. And I think that this stillness is creating some opportunities for us to live more simply as well. We've been, the amount of stimulus that we've been living in has been extraordinary. I'm personally loving the quiet. And I know that some of us are living busy lives still, but I see people going to the park more and bringing a blanket and hanging out with friends and family, and that's enough. And I think that's really beautiful. And the other thing that I think is a real blessing is that, it's only when we face challenges that we're actually motivated to seek tools to support us through those challenges and grow. And I know I'm really grateful for the challenges I've had because they've prepared me for this. So seeing how people are, coming to mindfulness and meditation more, and that they're prioritizing their mental and emotional health, it feels inspiring to me and hopeful.
And Keiichi, what about you?
One of the things that has been really beautiful about this time for me is also seeing the sort of wakefulness around the need for meditation. And while I've been way more busy than I have, it's also really allowed me to deepen my practice. And as a practitioner, I think, or someone who teaches often, like you kind of plan ahead for that. It's not something to necessarily integrate in really, really deep ways. It's so I've been able to also have more space and more time for that, and to really also deepen the most important relationships to me. And that's been a huge gift. And I also have a movement practice, and I'm a dancer, and I've been finding a lot of joy and beauty in just dancing in my solitude and actually having time for it. And so taking out the commute for me and travel that I typically would do for work has really allowed me to also just like ground in my space and in my home.
And have a dance party.
Yeah.
Matthew, take us home.
A dance party for one. There's never a wrong time for that. Yeah. Look, to echo some of the sentiment that everyone else has said, we got a forced winter. And the damn thing came in the springtime. You know what I mean? And so we're forced to go in, we're forced to be with ourselves, we're forced to be stuck with what's going on up here in our nugget. And we all know, I don't know anybody out there in the world that's always a comfortable place and great company to keep. But it is company we should keep and check in with. And the world before COVID let us deny that and run from it. Busy schedule. I got it. I don't need to check in. And all of a sudden you look up, weeks are gone, months are gone, years are gone, a lifetime's gone. And you finally are looking back going, oh, I just got forced to check in with myself because you were forced to at the end of your life or whatever that is. Well, now it's a daily ritual. And it can be an uncomfortable place, and that's good. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. I think, Tamara was talking about it earlier. Meditation, mindfulness, it's not about denying or getting rid of the anxiety and stress in life. It's dealing with it. Stress and anxiety are real. We should have some amount of stress. It means we give a damn, and it's how to deal with that as part of the daily adventure of life. And as everyone's echoed here, we're now in a position where we're forced inward and forced to spend time with ourselves. It's fine to talk to yourself. It's fine to ask the questions to yourself. Heck, say them out loud. In Kichi, dance with yourself. Do it. Answer yourself, though. You don't have to have the right answer. Talk to yourself, answer yourself, spend time. You will, if you stick to it, you will eventually start to enjoy the company that you're keeping up here when you're the only company you're keeping.
Can you just tell us that it's going to be all right?
You're going to be 3 times better than that. It's going to be all right, all right, all right. And it is too, there's no doubt. That's another thing we have to remember, I think, right now is celebrate where we can. Double down on what we have to be thankful for. Double down on the things that we have in our life to be thankful for that are COVID proof. Things we have in here, loved ones, things that are COVID proof. Safety first, but double down on what's going to outlast COVID. What's going to be what was here before, here now, and will be here after that. Double down on that gratitude. Rejoice where we can, dance where we can, celebrate these things, and finally, if we could all make sense of humor default emotion right now, a little laughter, a little forgiveness, a little amnesty. A good thing to give ourselves and others, which we could all practice a little bit more of that, because as we know, in this time where we've all been quarantined, we're stuck with ourselves. Many of us had gone to the lowest common denominator, and actually are indicting the world and people at every single turn. I think it's a great time for some understanding, some compassion, and some forgiveness, along with responsibility, starting with ourselves.
Thank you for that. And thank you to all of you for joining, and to people who are tuning in. I learned something really interesting. I co-host the Goop podcast with Gwyneth, and I was interviewing a man this morning. His name's Bruce Feiler, and his book is called Life is in the Transitions. And it's about the myth of midlife crises, or that our lives are ever linear. And we all experience these disturbances, many, many disturbances throughout our lives. And our ability to respond to that with resilience is what gives us all of our meaning. And he was talking, one, about how creativity comes from chaos always. And that also the way to make meaning is to write things down, which I think is an extension of mindfulness. And that those who can sort of feel their emotions, express them, tend to recover and move forward much faster. Thank you again. I love this conversation.
Thanks, Kichi and Tamara. Enjoyed that.
You too.
Keep dancing. Keep dancing. Keep dancing.